Today on Beer 101, growlers and why they should be a part of your life.
As Radar mentioned earlier, we're going to be talking about growlers. So what are growlers? Growlers are containers for draft beers. Most craft breweries would do growler fills, and what that is, essentially, they'll fill directly from their taps. So they'll fill you draft beer on these containers. Craft breweries, some gas stations, some liquor stores, they'll all fill these growlers up. And then again, why would you want draft beer over like a bottle or a can?
Right.
Well, draft beer is fresher. Generally, they don't pasteurize draft beer.
Right.
So it's not
doesn't have to be pasteurized in most states.
That is in draft form. So it's going to be fresher. It's coming from a keg, and it doesn't have to go through the bottling process. So draft beer generally is just better tasting.
Yeah. Better choice.
There are a ton of different growlers out there, and if you're new to beer, it's really confusing.
It can be a little bit daunting to see all the different kinds.
So we're going to talk about growlers. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the size of growlers. Growlers come in 32 ounces, 64 ounces, 128, 172 ounces. So the typical size growler is a 64 ounce. That's a gallon. This is 128 ounce right here.
You can buy those also.
And then 172 ounce typically are metal containers, and they're typically used for home brews.
Yeah.
But you can buy them to fill up brews.
Very nearly a keg.
Most breweries do 64 ounce growlers. A 32 ounce growler is considered a growlette, is what they're called.
I don't think we have one of those over here right now.
I'm not worried about it. The growlette is just essentially half these. They come in glass and plastic. So I don't recommend using plastic growlers. Growlettes is okay because it's 32 ounces, but if you're going to do a growler, and if you're new to beer, a lot of people start out with these, and that's because they're very inexpensive.
Yeah, and the plastic will degas into your beer, and you don't want that.
So this specific growler, they run between, depending on where you get it from, $3 to $7 for these guys. This has a special cap on it. We'll get to that later. The typical caps on here keep the beer good for about 24 hours. They're not particularly good at keeping the beer fresh. That's where these guys come into place.
Big toggle top caps.
And these run about 25. This growler runs about $25. It has a big ceramic lid here with a nice rubber gasket.
Nice, like gigantic rubber gasket.
And a nice big metal handle on them.
So, always good.
But if you're new and you're like getting into growler, I would recommend just starting out with one of these guys. Try it out, see if you like it. You know, look for specials too, because a lot of growler fills can be up to $30 for a 64 ounce growler fill. Look for specials like Country Boy on Saturdays. They do $10 growler fills. I know there's a gas station by where we work that has $5 growler fills. If you're getting into growlers, I don't recommend going out and paying $30 for this beer, and then it goes bad before you drink it, or you don't like it, or something.
And
like
they're
that.
reusable.
Yeah.
They partially expect you to bring your own growler. They have growlers for you to buy, but if you bring one of these that you've used 30 times, they're not going to care.
Yeah.
They're just going to fill your growler and be happy to have sold you beer.
So, like I said, these are great for basics. So keep in mind this is glass. Glass isn't a particularly good insulator for cold. So this isn't going to keep your beer very cold very long.
It makes an all-right insulator.
Also, I mentioned the caps on glass growlers are not good.
The cheap ones are not good at all.
Carbonation is an enemy of beer. So is light. And guess what? You can see through it.
You can see through it a little bit.
So the way you fix the carbonation issue with these glass ones is there's a company called Growler Grips that makes these guys right here. And it's just a better cap for glass growlers.
It's got a bigger rubber gasket. They also sell these carry handles. It just makes your glass growler a little bit less crappy. Because the $3 glass growler is crappy.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with ourselves.
Then you run into the issue of it's glass, it's breakable, you still see through it, still doesn't insulate very well.
Don't get clear.
Do not
never buy a clear one.
Do not buy one of these. That's for making wine or maybe storing beer in your refrigerator with no light.
So let's say
generally try not to store beer in this.
Let's say you've got a growler, you like filling beer at your local brewery, but you don't like the way this post-carbonation, you don't like the way light gets to it. So we get rid of those.
We get rid of these.
We bring out the next
get a little bit more serious.
This guy right here. So this is a $20 growler. It's $19.99. It's stainless steel single line growler with a pop top right here.
Love it.
And it's got this nice fancy rubber gasket here. These pop tops I find seal better than most of the screw caps on growlers, so keep that in mind when you're going to buy a better growler. Again, $20. I think $34 for 2, if you're into that.
If you drop it, it's not going to break.
Right, it's metal, you're not going to break. And it works well for what it is, but for me personally, if I was going to go the extra step to get this, I would go to the next step, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But again, these $20 work really well for a night of drinking. I would say if you want to keep it any longer than a day or two and you have like a camp or something, I recommend getting something better.
If you're keeping it outside of a refrigerator, this is not a good choice. If you're keeping it inside a refrigerator, it's fine.
Right, if you're picnicking or you're out and you want it to be cold for a while, I don't recommend this one. But this is still a really good growler for carbonation and keeping away from light. And again, the two big enemies of beer, air and light. So next we're going to whip out something a little bit more expensive. We have, you gotta whip out all these.
I'm gonna bring them all out. I'm bringing them all out.
Let's whip them out by price here.
Oh, okay, yeah. These are about the same.
Yeah, let's go about right there. So this is the cheapest one. This is the most expensive one in this group. They look, I mean, how can you tell which one's better, which one's not? So they're all double lined except this last one's triple lined. So this is the most expensive one, it's triple lined. So that's the first thing we're looking at here. Another thing is aesthetics. This one is ugly.
That is ugly.
This is an ugly growler.
But it works really well.
This one looks like your old school thermos.
Stanley makes it. It's a very recognizable name.
Sleek and sexy. It kind of looks like a glass growler except it's double lined. And this guy right here.
This is an unknown brand to me, but it comes with an infuser. And it's also triple lined.
Eco Vessel.
Eco Vessel.
Or Eco Vessel.
Yes.
That's one of our best ones on the show.
It is actually. It did a really good job.
So, well, again, how do we tell the difference on these? Well, we've tested all these. If you want to see the reviews on them, they'll be in the link down in the description below. But price doesn't always mean it's better. So, for instance, this is $20. But
that's the cheapest one on the table.
But this one performed better at keeping the beer cold, better than these two. Not by much.
It came in almost equal with this one.
Yeah, not by much, but it did a better job. And this, these guys did a really good job. All of them did a really good job of keeping the beer sealed. You notice this has a twist cap. We got 2 twists and 2 pops. So this is a twist, that's a twist. This is a pop.
This is sort of like one of those tackle box closures.
Personally, I'm a big fan of the Stanley out of all these because it's affordable. It's right in the middle.
Yeah.
It's not ugly, and I think it's a little bit more durable. This guy right here has a lot of bells and whistles. So it has
really does.
That fruit infuser.
Got plenty of stuff to break.
And has something, it has this horsepower. You look at this, and this is really confusing to somebody who's new to growlers. This is a lot of stuff.
This is quite a bit.
All you need to know when you get into the double line growlers is they keep your beer insulated. So you can code up to 24 hours, some of these to 36 hours.
Right.
So if you're into that, you're camping, you want to be outdoors, look at that when you're looking for growlers. Look at the durability. If you plan on hiking and you're worried about it getting beat up, look at how well it's going to do. And
get something with an armor coat.
And if you want something that's a multitasker, like you want something that has, like this, would be a good water bottle as well.
It's a good beverage carrier in general.
These, and this guy also keeps hot beverages really well. Some of these other ones that do hot beverages as well, but Stanley is probably one of the better ones.
They'll all do hot beverages, but Stanley is, part of their marketing is hot, cold, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Room temperature, it'll keep it at that temperature.
This one is ugly, but it's cheap.
Yeah, and it works really well. So you don't always necessarily get what you pay for with these double line growlers. Just read the reviews, watch our videos, and you'll know what to do.
All right, so finally, if you're a beer connoisseur like us, and you have tons of money, which we don't, these were free.
People send us these.
Yeah, you can get the pressurized growler. Now these serve multiple purposes. This one actually has beer in it right now. So these are both 128 ounce models. So if you're going to get something, if you're going to spend the money on something like this, you might as well go ahead and get the full gallon, 128 ounce, because the price difference is
it's
20 to 30
almost
bucks.
Negligible.
It's 20 to 30 bucks price difference. You get double the amount of beer, and with these carbonated beers, this carbonated growlers, you don't have to worry about them going bad. See, regardless of what growler you get, the unpressurized ones, you're going to get 3 days max out of most of those. With these guys, you can get up to 2 weeks out of your beer. If you're like me, I like to get off work and I like to have a pint. But I want to have 1 pint. I don't want to come home and have 4 pints.
Yeah, it doesn't work out so well.
And then once you open those guys up, you got a few hours to drink those.
You have 24 hours at the very most to drink a glass or a open top growler.
So this guy right here is double line. This is a double line growler. This is a single line growler.
Right.
We'll talk about the different features on these in a second. But I'm gonna go and pour us a little beer here out of this.
Yeah. Because any beer review should go with beer, right?
We have pineapple, Going Coastal pineapple.
Okay. Yes. I really like these. The thing is, you can. Oh, hey. You can buy these. You can buy these for super cheap, right? But they're not going to be good. You can get them on eBay for like $50, $60. They will be broken.
You got to be careful because
be aware that they will be broken when you get them.
So think about the pressure. You're putting pressure inside these, so that's a big deal.
These are pressure vessels. They don't like to be dropped. They don't like to be tampered with or hot rodded.
For instance, when we got this one right here, it actually leaked heavily. I had to do some some heavy work to get this to work properly. It's a beautiful growler. It's eye catching. When I'm at the brewery, I always get people and I'm like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
So let's talk about performance. Both of these growlers perform really well for pressurized growlers. After this one was fixed, I was kind of irked.
Well, we got this one used also.
Yeah, I was irked after I had to fix this, but since then it's been a good performer. This guy I had a little issues with when I first got it. But that's partially because I didn't read the instructions.
Yeah, you should read the instructions.
Yeah, these so again, this guy's $200. This guy's $179. So when I say pressurized, they take CO2 tanks.
Right.
So this one, the CO2 is actually down inside the beer.
Empty.
You're gonna find out. I don't think.
I'm gonna purge it first. It's all right.
Nope, it's not empty.
It's not empty. It is in fact not empty at all. Good God, how much? We didn't use this at all.
I used half of it.
It's a good thing I didn't unscrew this.
You're wasting a CO2 tank.
I'll buy you a new CO2 cartridge.
These guys run about $3 a piece. You do not want to go to Walmart and buy CO2 cartridges from the hunting section.
Go over to the cooking area.
They don't sell them at Walmart. You have to go to you have to go to a food like a restaurant supplier, or you can order them off Amazon. These little CO2 cartridges do not use the BB gun one. Those are not food grade. They are not. So
they will hurt you internally.
But essentially, once you figure out, like, these take a lot of finicking, so it took me a while to figure out the correct pressures on them, to figure out what's the correct pouring, what different beers take different pressures. It's complicated, and this is not something I recommend to a beginner. If you're really into craft beer, you really like draft beer too, and you want to like have fresh draft beer on tap.
If you're willing to go all the way,
and you don't want to go out, and you don't have the space or the money to buy a kegerator, which is
our problem.
Another episode. Yeah. We don't have the space or the money to buy a kegerator, so we use something like this. The advantage of this one is you can buy replacements of these tanks for $50. So you can just fill a bunch of these up, cap them, and then when you empty one, you can put this cap on the next one and work your way down the line, which is nice. With this guy, there's a lot of cleaning involved. You got this nice side tube. It's very pretty, but there's a lot of cleaning.
You're going to need a cleaning kit for that.
And also, this is more efficient with CO2. Whatever CO2 you have in here, you have to use all of it.
Yep.
So with this, you can get, sometimes you get 2 uses of the CO2.
You can valve this off and switch kegerator.
Again,
switch kegs.
This will sit out and stay cold for, it says 24 hours, realistically like 12 hours. If you're drinking at a party, you should have all that gone after a while.
Yeah, it should be all gone.
A guy like this, you can set that down on the ice and it'll be perfectly fine.
This is what you put in your cooler. I just like that you can get 4 of these for relatively cheap, and then have 1 of these.
Yeah.
Versus buy the entire thing. That's like what, $250?
So here's another advantage of these. Yes, they do draft beer really well if you're in a grout. Here's another big one: is they're really good for carbonating home brews. So if you're into brewing your own beer at home, both of these guys will carbonate your home brews. This is again very pretty to look at. I think this guy is slightly better just because you have the ability to again make multiple batches, store them, and then carbonate it for home brewing. And this one's, like I said, slightly cheaper. Aesthetically, this one's more impressive.
That one's way cooler.
Yeah. So again, we'll talk about these later on. But for carbonate grout, this is if you got the money. Again, $200, $180. You got to have some money for that.
This is for when you grow up.
So me personally, what do I recommend? Well, these are overkill for most people. Me personally, I'm going to recommend something like the Stanley or the Orca. Which is not either one of
Not either one of these. This is the one that I recommend.
Yeah. So I'm going to recommend something like these, $20 or $40 growler. It's got It keeps the beer cold, seals really well, and you know it does the job. So you know, 20, 40 bucks, it's worth it. This is normally 40. It's on sale for 20 right now, but they do what they're supposed to do. Now they do make. You can find 128 ounce versions of some of these online. You just have to look for them if you're into something bigger. But again, 120 ounces for something like this is probably not a good idea unless you could drink 8 pints of beer in a relatively fast setting. Because again, once these are open, the beer starts to
go not so good after a little while. But that's Growlers.
Growlers,
all Growlers.
There are a ton of different. There's a few other carbonated growler or pressurized growlers we haven't pulled out. Those are not that safe. So these are the safer ones. We get there's pressurized glass ones I've seen.
Theoretically, that's not a bad idea, but in practice, it's glass. So
if it drops, it's going to explode.
You have a bomb. Congratulations. But
all these growlers we showed on the show, we like them. I'll accept the one that's garbage.
We didn't bring it back.
Yeah,
it was in the intro. Now I'll go back to the beginning and find out which one it is.
Yeah, it was a green one that was terrible. So again, if you're into something like that, definitely do your research. Don't go out and instantly spend $80 on a growler. Like, do some research. Sometimes you can find something, a diamond in the rough, like this guy for 20 bucks. That's really good. Or you know, something like Stanley that's readily available. It's 34, 35 bucks.
Sometimes you can snipe a good deal. It happens.
All right, well, if you like these Beer 101s, you can leave a comment down below. Don't forget that like button. I'm Special K.
I'm Radar.
Thanks
for watching.